Sponsored by Asian Single Solution, dating for British Asians.
Hey, welcome to The Big Bite, here with me, Sunny, and my lovely wife, Shay.
Hello.
With a heavy heart, we say this is going to be our last Big Bite.
It is quite sad, really, isn't it? But
It
the good news is, even though this is the end of this series of The Big Bite, only today we've been filming a new project that we're going to be doing with Brit Asia, which will start in 2016 in the new year. So if you want to find out further details, to follow the journey, you can check us out on Twitter and Snapchat at Sunny and Shay, and of course, as always, at Brit Asia TV. Now, coming up on the show today for the final one, we had to talk about your favourite topic, didn't we?
Which is films. I love films. You know that I love it with a passion. So we're going to definitely talk about some of the releases.
And also, we're going to be celebrating Christmas with you as well, because it is the festive season. It's December. Christmas is around the corner. So Sunny and I headed out earlier on this week to the German market. All of that to come a little bit later on in the show. But today, we're joined by an individual who's a doctor by day.
Yes.
And he's a lyricist by night. His name is SomieSidhu. He's the son of the very famous Dr. Sidhu, and he's here joining us for The Big Bite. It's lovely to meet you, Somie.
Nice to meet you guys. I'm glad I could be here to mark this sad occasion of your last.
It is sad, but it's also a positive in the way that we're going to move on to bigger and better things when it comes to working with Brit Asia TV. Now, let me ask you about this. Your dad wrote Rail Gaddi.
Yes.
How do you follow up from Rail Gaddi? Even today, generations know about Rail Gaddi.
Man, it's hard shoes to fill. And the amazing thing about Rail Gaddi was there was no videos when he wrote the song.
Right.
So how do you get people to make a line and do all this dance without showing them on a video?
Yeah.
And what he told me is he just drew it on the album cover.
Right.
And I was just thinking how times have changed. I didn't even know what album covers looked like. I used to remember having the sleeve and everything. So, I mean, it's just amazing what he achieved. And that story of when he tells me the song, and famously, Rail Gaddi was written on a prescription pad.
Okay.
Because as a doctor, he just had a prescription pad with him in the office and he wrote it out.
Yeah.
And someone came over to our house and saw it and took a picture of it for a book, and it's become kind of a famous story.
Right.
Yeah.
So not only is it a very famous song, there's a very famous backstory with it. And then here I am trying to follow up with something. And then I thought, you know, how do you top a Rail Gaddi? Well, we've got to get some really fast cars in there.
Right, okay, yeah.
So that's where we ended up going.
This is obviously with your latest collaboration with this local artist called Sunny, and he's collectively known as the Off License.
Yeah, so Sunny, as all great people, you know, he's very talented.
Yeah.
And he works with two other guys locally for us, all from Coventry, Pro J and Lexi, and they do more of the kind of rap stuff.
Okay.
And Sunny sings in kind of Tirth Punjabi.
Right.
So they came to me actually after I'd made my last song, and they said, look, you know, we really like that. It was a new sound. How about you write something new for us? And, you know, as Shay said, I'm not sort of a full-time lyricist. I try and do it as a hobby.
Right.
This opportunity came, and, you know, every young guy likes cars, every young guy likes girls, so we try and put the two things together.
So putting these things together, some people are saying that, you know, because we did this, we talked to a lot of artists, and some of them are trying to move away from that kind of imagery and that kind of, you know, imagery of just that's what it's all about. You deliberately went that way with the tongue-in-cheek, or did you do it like, yeah, this is the way we should be, this is our ambitions, this is the way we move forward?
No,
Where was the thought process when you were writing it?
It was very tongue-in-cheek, and I think my my writing, so my last song, Dubby, was all about jewellery.
Okay.
And it was about telling a heartbreak story through the eyes of the jewellery. So the challenge there is, how do you bring an inanimate object, an object which has no voice, to life? And that challenge carried through into Headlight, which is all about cars and making the comparison between cars and girls. Cars, again, inanimate object, no voice. How do you bring that to life? So lyrically, I think there's a huge challenge in that.
Brilliant.
And I think from the imagery point of view, I think you're definitely right. I mean, classically, the kind of Bangla video with cars and girls, you know, we should move away from that.
Well, I don't know if there is a place for everything.
Well,
I'm just saying that...
there is a lot of it, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot of it.
We got very lucky in our circumstances in that a friend of mine, Arash, is a chap who builds his own supercar.
Okay.
So he has his own sort of supercar company.
Wow.
And he said to me, look, I've got this supercar, you know, just ready to go now. It's on the track and we've tested it and all this stuff. Can we do something with this car? And that was in the background, and then Sunny came over and, he, you know, we had these ideas, and I said, hang on, why don't we speak to Arash? So we went down to Arash's place, which is in Cambridge. he showed this new car which has never been shown before on TV.
Nice.
And then we were thinking, wow, this car alone is enough inspiration to write a song.
Right. Okay.
And you know, as a hobbyist, not a sort of full-time lyricist,
Yeah.
I need some inspiration to write. And when I saw that, I said, headlight mangate kiya kateri. And that was it.
That was it.
The line came.
That got you.
And we filmed it at Irash's place. He let us use his cars.
Brilliant.
So when you see the video, you'll see hopefully a lot of kind of having a lot of fun in it.
How do you manage to balance being, you know, a doctor by daytime, being the son of such a famous lyricist like Dr. SomieSidhu, who himself was a doctor, and then still having time to indulge in your hobby, which is Bhangra music and writing, you know, Bhangra lyrics?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. And being a doctor, I think, is a great thing. It's a very noble profession. And now it sort of runs in the family too. And so that's my kind of primary, you know, purpose goal. I work in healthcare and love doing that. I think every doctor or every sort of professional, as you guys will know, needs some sort of hobby, right? So either you go and play golf or you write some songs. And for me, I think having grown up in this kind of great history of Bhangra music in the 80s and 90s, when my dad was sort of writing and mixing and meeting all of the people that he used to sort of hang around with, just gave me a lot of inspiration. And now I think, you know, it's different. I write a lot of English songs and try and bring different influences and inspirations to the music.
Right.
But I think it all originated from there. And luckily, you know, some genes seem to have run through.
Yeah.
There's a bit of lyrical talent in the family, I guess.
Yeah.
And what about you working in the future? What are you working on? Who are you working with? I mean, like, what are we going to hear from you? Because you don't always hear about the writers. Is the guys who produce now, they seem to getting a lot of limelight, like Punjabi by Nature, for example, and also the guy who sings the song. So they're normally the two main guys now, whereas before he was just a singer. So what happens to yourself next? Who are you working with next?
Yeah, it's a really good point, Sonny. And I think one sort of big kind of pain that we had in the industry previously was that writers really got sort of short thrift. So no one really knew who they were.
Yeah.
You know, maybe their name comes in the song. And because it's not sort of a full-time profession for me, I can just kind of do what I like. I was very lucky in that I'm able to sort of tell my own story. So my first song, Dubby, was kind of a heartbreak story, which was kind of very personal to me. And I also then, you know, wrote the video and helped to sort of produce the visuals as well as the lyrics. So I have that opportunity, and I think I'm very lucky for that, and it's sort of God's grace that I'm allowed to do that. So my next song is, again, just, it's come out of kind of a strange opportunity. It's a friend of mine who I saw sort of falling in love when I was in India.
Right.
And this is a guy who never, you know, at university he was kind of the football guy and the dad, and he'd go to the pub, never talk about girls.
Yeah.
And I was in India and he said, "Can I borrow your phone?" I said, "Okay," gave him my phone. Half an hour later he comes back and gives it back. He said it's ran out of credit.
What?
And I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I was ringing this girl, I've met this girl," and literally no one could believe it. This guy's fallen in love in sort of 2 weeks, and this is the guy who never would have done that.
Nice.
So I've written a song which is, you know, his sort of first dance song, and that will hopefully, you know, come out whenever sort of the wedding is, and we can do the dance.
So that's such a beautiful story. I mean, it's like it's nice that you're connecting your real life to some of these stories. But do you find that the industry itself is a place where people, like, you've got a trade, you're a doctor. I mean, we're never going to be, you know, we're always going to need doctors. But when it comes down to the entertainment industry, especially the Asian market, do you think that there is a place for young people who might be watching right now? Is there a career there from what your experience is? Because obviously your dad came from a time where it was just, they were writing the rule book as they were going along. Now it's being rewritten and nobody knows exactly what language they're writing it in.
Yeah, I mean, you picked up a few good points there, Sunny, and I think you're really getting to the core of some of the issues. Is there a career there? I think definitely. And one of the interesting points about lyricists in the Indian music industry is that they're usually different to the songwriter. Right? When you look at the English music industry, that isn't always the case. So you take Adele, Ed Sheeran, largely they write their own songs, right? So I would say my challenge to sort of young artists out there is to really say what you believe, write what you believe, and make what you believe in. And then I think if you follow that kind of passion, there's definitely a career to be had. I'm a bit different in that. I do it as a hobby.
Right.
And, you know, if I could sing, I save my singing for the shower. But if I could sing, definitely I'd be out there sort of singing my own stuff. I don't think there should be this massive disconnect between a songwriter and a singer. They ideally should be the same person.
I agree with you
And when you
wholeheartedly.
look at the greats in Bhangra music, the Sardajis, the Gurdas Mans, like, they all write their own songs, right? So I think any new artist out there, whatever language you're doing it in, just go for it and follow that passion through from end to end.
Well, we'll continue talking with Somie. We'll be back straight after the break. Sponsored by Asian Single Solution, dating for British Asians.